Hello, I'm Robert, a fact checker and science blogger and helping people scared of various things. I get people send me PMs or they ask in the group, can you sell their soul to the devil? And they're often worried that they might have done it accidentally. And you even get people who get a bit OCD about it, and they keep saying things like, oh, if this happens, then that means I've sold my soul to the devil. Like if my favourite team wins in football, then I've sold my soul to the devil. And if you keep on doing that day after day, then eventually the thing you're wishing for will happen, and then you will think you've sold your soul to the devil. And this is just not possible. It can't be done. Never mind by some kind of verbal trick like that. It just can't be done at all. And so, because as Christians understand it, so the whole idea of the devil is to do with Christianity. You've got to have an entire belief system to believe in this thing at all. And as Christians understand it, whatever you do, then God will forgive you, so long as you open your heart to Him and sincerely regret it. Everything is redeemable. It all can be forgiven, and no words you say can rob you of that. So it's not possible. It just can't be done. And of course, if you don't believe in Satan or hell, then you can't do it anyway. So please don't worry about this. You just can't do it. Soul isn't something that can be sold. You can't, because selling your soul would mean selling your any possibility of God loving you. That's basically and that you can't do that. Any possibility of being forgiven. That's how what people understand this term to mean. That you just can't do that. There's nothing you can do that can do that. Some Christians think that it's possible to believe in God and Jesus and then to resolutely set your heart against them, make a firm decision in your mind that you are never ever going to do anything good. And you just kind of decide in a very resentful way, I'm not going to do anything good. These people say I should do something good. I should be a good person in my life. And I'm absolutely going to reject that, and it's going to be nasty and horrible to everyone for the rest of my life. And there's a lot of discussion amongst Christians whether this is even possible. So it's more like a theoretical idea. It doesn't whether you would actually anybody could actually really reject the love and kindness of God and Jesus in that way. So it's really an academic thing. It seems it's not clear that anyone has ever done that. And of course, God and Jesus, if someone's killed someone, mass murderer, someone done absolutely awful things, but there's very clear in the Bible that is this a good passage from the Bible that I'll read out. In the Sermon on the Mount, you have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbour and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. He makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. And there are many passages like that in the Bible about how God's love is for everyone, absolutely everyone. He doesn't make these distinctions. He doesn't say, oh, you're a mass murderer, I'm not going to love you. He doesn't do that. Jesus' way of, the Christian way of looking at things. So there's no way that you can sell your soul to the devil. There's no way that you can do anything that is totally unforgivable as long as you open up and open to the love of God and of Jesus. That's how Christians think about it. And I was just going to say, you get these humorous stories about humorous people where people claim that they have sold their soul to the devil. That's an example. And the various other humorous pages about it, and it's and a fake interview with Mark Zuckerberg, where it's similar to that, and so you don't actually have to believe in Satan, even if you as a Christian. There are, depending on your what branches of Christianity, there are many Christians who don't even believe in Satan at all, or think of it as being like a metaphor, an allegory, not a real person. And but even if you do, then it doesn't make any sense. Because how, if you do believe that you lead a good life, how could some paper contract you signed make any difference at all? Even if you did sign it with what you believe to be real and devil, you just can't change anything. Now, and the soul is not a commodity. It doesn't matter the ritual, it doesn't matter the paper. It's more of a folk belief, and it's quite an old belief. But and for instance, this story of Paganini, where he claimed that he sold his soul to the devil, but we have many modern violin virtuosos who are able to play like Paganini did, and he was just an excellent violinist, and so playing up this idea that he had sold his soul in order to kind of big up his reputation. And then it doesn't work the other way either. You can't pay out money to buy your own soul to get an automatic pass to heaven. You can't do it that way either. And they used to think about that at the time of the Crusades, when Christians used to think back then that that fighting against the Muslims, so not the way we think about it now, but the way we used to think about it back then, and to kind of try to liberate the Israel, and they thought that this was a very beneficial thing to do. And then people who couldn't take part in the Crusades, then the church started selling them these things called indulgences. So they claimed back then, and this is a thing that people sometimes talk about, saying Muslims think this. Well, Christians used to think this, and nowadays nobody does if they're reasonably educated. But the idea of a kind of holy war in which if you fight, then by killing people in Israel in order to try and retake Israel, then they used to think back then that meant they go to heaven. And then the ones who couldn't take part in these battles, then back then the Catholic Church used to sell them these things called indulgences, where they claimed that although you can't take part in the Crusades and go and fight and kill these Muslims, you can go to heaven if you buy these bits of paper from us, and it has the same effect. And so this is all very archaic in modern terms. They just were rather naive and had very strange ideas back in the Middle Ages. And this one at Martin Luther, where is it? Martin Luther King, and he wrote about, and recently he was excommunicated. And because he wrote about this, that you can't sell your future goodness like this as a commodity. You can't buy it. So the Catholics were claiming that they built up so much goodness in the past that they can then sell this goodness to other people to help them go to heaven. And it doesn't work like that. You can't sell your soul, and you can't buy goodness either. It's all down to being a good person, and part of that is being generous and helping others. But the less you're focusing on the idea that you're doing it for your own salvation, the more it's real, genuine generosity. And so it's not talking about just going around giving things to people in order to get to heaven, but about genuinely being kind and caring for other people. And that's the Christian part. And so, anyway, I hope this helps you. So, I'm not Christian myself. I'm Buddhist, but I used to be Christian, and both my parents were Christian, and they were ministers, and they were missionaries. And so, I've had a fair bit of background. I was brought up in a house full of theological books, and I used to read them quite a lot. And so I've got a bit of background, and I've followed this up, finding the good sources on the matter. And so you don't have to be, if you're a Christian, you don't have to believe in Satan. And if you do believe in Satan, you absolutely, it doesn't even make sense. It's not even logically possible to sell your soul to Satan. It just can't be done. Doesn't just not possible, because of the love and forgiveness of God and Jesus. And that's what makes it impossible. So, anyway, So hopefully that helps some of you who are scared, who post to our group and sometimes send me PMs, are scared that they've just accidentally sold their soul to the devil. It doesn't work like that.